What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new live episode of Game Time here on the Game Time YouTube channel. I am one half of the Game Time crew here, the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by Winston A. Marshall. Mr. Marshall, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you?
I'm living my best life. Ain't going back and forth with you. I'm chilling, man. Started off 2023 correct. Having a good old day yesterday and Saturday. Yesterday my homeboy entered his first go-go contest. And he won.
Wow.
He not only won I'm trying to think, he won 2 awards. He won the overall contest.
Okay.
And then I want to say he won the staff favorite. Like the judges, their favorite, not just the entire crowd.
Right.
But yeah, he was out here in these streets. I mean, it was. Wow. I think the funniest part is because this was at a gay club, right? Okay. And so this old couple, I don't know if they realized the bar they were watching football in was actually a gay club, even though there are posters everywhere of drag queens and like all sorts of stuff, right? And so we're walking in as they're walking out, and they go, "Is it always like this?" And I was like, "I've never been here. I don't fucking know." But then when I get inside, I'm like,
oh yeah,
they're literally half naked men everywhere. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? So I don't know. I'm proud of my homie. I just cannot understand people when you go into someone else's space and you want to act confused. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go to a Cowboys game, you're like, "Are y'all always this bad?" Bitch, it's the goddamn Cowboys. What the fuck you think?
That's for sure. We're definitely going to get into that Cowboys Commanders game for sure a little bit later on in the first block. Somebody already saying Game Time Civil War. Absolutely, Phil P. But we'll definitely talk about all that kind of stuff. But we're going to get into much more important games that happen for sure in Week 18 of the NFL and jump, because there's a lot of teams that qualified. It went all the way down to the last game last night to lock down the final playoff seed. And if you're if you're a schedule maker in the NFL, if you're Roger Goodell, if you're one of the executives or one of the owners, that makes you happy that every game almost mattered all the way up until the last one. And that's important when you look at that kind of thing. So we're going to break it all down and talk about it. We're going to give our initial thoughts to these playoff matchups that are coming up on Wild Card Weekend just a few days from now. Talk a little bit more about Damar Hamlin and get his update. I don't know why I keep calling him Hamlin. And then we'll preview the TCU Georgia game at the tail end of the show as well. This is the national championship game happening tonight. All of that happening here on Game Time. Please remember the Streamlabs are open. Send in your support. You see the Streamlabs address right there on the graphics. It's also going to be pinned in the chat in just a second as we go through the games. All right, Winston, let's jump into it. The first game we got to talk about is, of course, the Buffalo Bills taking care of business and knocking out the New England Patriots in honor of Damar Hamlin and what he'd experienced and what he was going through. Seems to be getting better. Certainly the road to recovery is speeding up along for him, which is fantastic. He tweeted apparently 12 times during the game here, but Nyheim Hines had 2 kickoff returns for 96 yards and 101 yards here to lead the Bills over the Patriots 35-23 up there in Buffalo, New York. I saw a lot of Patriots fans thinking they were going to lose by 100. Shout out to our friend Jared Haven. But in the end, it was a much more tighter game than people might have anticipated. The Bills got themselves a 42-yard touchdown with John Brown catching that ball from Josh Allen. And, of course, there was a Stephon Diggs touchdown as well. So, in the end here, this was a very emotional victory for Buffalo. They're going to be welcoming Miami into Buffalo here next week in Wild Card Weekend. But what do you take away from this game as the Patriots themselves ended up being eliminated from the playoffs a little bit later on in the day? But what do you take away from this game about the Bills, about the inspiration they feel with Hamlin, and also about the Patriots now having crashed out of the playoffs? It's the second time in 3 years for Bill Belichick.
Well, I first of all, on behalf of myself and John Rocha, would like to apologize for not picking a winner in the Monday night game. I think that negative voodoo power that we have manifested in the worst possible way. If we had just picked somebody to win, the other team would have won, and then everybody would have been safe. So I of course I kid. I'm glad to hear that, this happened right after our show. So I'm glad to hear that Hamlin is recovering. I'm glad to hear that. I believe the last count was over $4 million to his charity, which is incredible.
It's a lot of toys.
That's so many. And what I really appreciate, I do not remember this gentleman's name, a bigger black dude who's on a Cleveland sports podcast. I'll see if I can find the video for you later. He was speaking. I'm getting all my Damar stuff out now before I talk about the Bills and Patriots. He spoke on the fact that like the owners really need to do better. There was a lot of pieces of shit that wanted to come out and be like, he's a millionaire. Like, who cares?
Wow.
He's not.
Wow.
He is. Yes, he makes more than the average man. I think with bonuses, he makes up at about $800K.
Sure.
But he was a 6th-round pick. He does not make millions of dollars every single year. And on top of that, the minute an injury like this happens, if he can't play anymore, NFL don't owe him shit. You have to hit a certain number of games in order to even get to the pension. And even that is grossly underpaid. So I am so grateful to see how many people that came together, not only to support this man, but to support his charity. I am thrilled that the Bills handled their business the way that they did. And I'll be honest with you, I think the Bills Mafia just grew to massive amounts because it feels like every single person whose team is officially eliminated just became a Bills fan.
Yeah.
And what is there to say about this team other than the fact that, like, with everything that went down and all of the shock that we collectively went through as a country that watched this game,
right?
I think that's the thing. Anybody that doesn't have their team in is pulling for this team because of that. And they did what they were supposed to do, man. They came through, bounced back from something that really could have dismantled them mentally, and really put it up against one of their division rivals, one that has had their number for at least a decade and a half.
Yeah. And if there's anybody who doesn't care about sympathy and emotion and coming home and all of that, it's Bill Belichick, Darth Vader himself. So certainly he had this team kind of ready and prepared for the emotional game that they were going to be playing, as they kept this pretty close all the way up until the end.
Yep. And so to that point, I see there's a couple things. One, it's currently up to 8.6 million, which is incredible.
Wow.
And two, yes, he does have a $3 million contract, but people are out here saying that he's making millions a year. He's not. Again, based on said contract, he makes roughly about 800 something with bonuses and whatnot. It will add up by the time his contract is over, because I believe he's in his 2nd year.
Right.
So by the time he gets to the end of year 4, he would have made that money, which, again, more than the rest of us. Let's not pretend like he's not still doing well for himself, but a lot of that, to that point, can instantly disappear. And you also don't know, with that 3 million, that 3.4, who in his family is he potentially taking care of? You know what I'm saying? Stop counting other people's wallets, in the sense that this man is putting his life on the line, literally did that. And he doesn't have a Brady contract. He doesn't have a Rodgers contract. This isn't one of those things where it's like, fine, he can't play anymore, but he's sitting on millions upon millions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the rules of the NFL, the way they laid out his contract, he could have easily been out of the money that you're talking about, because if he can't come back, and most likely he probably won't, that money is forfeited according to the collective bargaining agreement. But the Buffalo Bills spoke with the NFL and the NFLPA to make a special exception for Damar Hamlin. And now Damar Hamlin is going to get his full money, is going to get what he's deserved, what he's owed in all of this, because of the way everything went down, the unique and unusual situation with the way everything went down. And look, even if we take Winston's example, 800,000, we know the government takes about just over a little bit under 50%. So then you're looking at what, 600,000 or maybe 505,000, 50,000 or something like that. Then you're paying out agents. Then you're paying out the 10% to everybody. You probably got family to take care of. You got bills to take care of. It's all that money starts to go. And like Winston said, once you get hurt in the NFL, now this situation is unusual, but normally being hurt in the NFL means you're out of that money and they are not going to take care of you. Or if there's a pension, it's way less than what you would have gotten. And here's the deal. These men earn it. They deserve it. They put in time that you don't put in at your regular job. You cannot compare an NFL player's preparation for the job that they do with the job that you do. It's a completely different situation. You're not teaching in front of 65,000 people, and every little mistake you make is going to be analyzed and talked about and on social media. Mr. Johnson, you fucked up my washer. I don't get to go on the internet and have hundreds and thousands of people get mad at you and bomb your business. And all. There's a different situation. So I always get mad when people try to say, well, I shouldn't give a shit about him. He's a millionaire. He fucking earned it. Nobody handed to him coming out of the womb. He earned it. Just like you earned your life, he earned his life. He was gifted with certain talents, and he pursued them, and he pushed them, and he fought, by the way. He wasn't handed this start. He fought to get into the position that he's in within his own organization. Even he had to prove to the coaches that he could do it. So this idea of not caring about, I don't know where this all comes from, this backlash to caring about people. It's just kind of mind blowing how angry people are about this kind of thing. It's a beautiful story. He's bouncing back. People support him. People love this thing. It brought people together from different points of views. And I think that's a positive. And, we don't talk about God much on the show, but like, I believe in God, and I'm sure you believe in God as well. And so it's like some things sometimes happen for a reason, and certain things happen to bring people together, to remind people together that we can come together when we want to.
Absolutely. And I'm double checking on a couple of things. One, I did hear about the t-shirts. People are saying that, when he woke up, the first words out of his mouth were, "Did we win?"
Yeah.
And the doctor responded, "Damar, you did win. You won the game of life, buddy." And that was the first thing he said. But it sounds like he's already got t-shirts made that he's selling that say, "Did we win?" And the proceeds are going to first responders and trauma center folk because they saved his life. I mean, again, this dude is the ultimate level of what it means to be a supreme human. Like he is on a whole other level. And we just got word from Schefter. He tweeted about 11 minutes ago that Damar Hamlin has been discharged from the hospital.
Wow.
Is returning home to Buffalo per the physicians at the University of Cincinnati Health. I am ecstatic to hear that, man.
Yeah, I am as well. So good, great. Hopefully his recovery continues. And look, this happened to Christian Eriksen a couple of years ago in 2020 during the Euros. He fell during a game there, had a cardiac arrest on the field. They saved his life, and a year later he was playing in the Premier League. So that's crazy. Possible to come back. It's just, I think football is a much more brutal sport, clearly, than football, international football. So getting hit on every play possibly, which could spark this all over again, that may be a different approach here than something like international football. So we'll see what the end result is. But clearly the Bills were inspired to win this game. But, I got to ask you about something here, Winston. There was a post here from Michael David Smith. If we look at the Patriots here, when you look at the stats for Bill Belichick without Tom Brady, and look, we've had a little bit of time here to take a look at the situation with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick without Tom Brady, and it doesn't look good in the long run here, because Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady as his head coach as his quarterback is not that great. And I'm trying to find the tweet here. Sorry. This is kind of something we need to maybe look at here, because he's a below 500 coach without Tom Brady as his quarterback. And
this is before and after.
Yeah, before and after, when he's for the Browns.
Oh, wow.
And here with the Patriots. So, and this is 3 seasons now without Tom Brady. He's not gone to the playoffs in 2 out of those 3 seasons. And look, he had a shot here at the end with Mac Jones and the Patriots to maybe win this game and then have a shot at getting in the playoffs. But in the end, he didn't get it done. So do we have to reassess? The longer this goes, do we reassess Bill Belichick as a coach?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You cannot fully take it away from him. I know that the Buccaneers trip backwards into the playoffs because of rules about divisions, because I honestly believe that you and a number of other teams deserve it more than the Buccaneers do, but that's just how divisions work.
Right.
But there you go. 219 to 64, and in the playoffs 17 out of 18 seasons without Brady. Without Belichick, he's 32-17 playoffs in all 3. Belichick without Brady, 79-87 in only 2 playoff seasons. So yeah, there is something to be said. It is very clear which half of that equation was actually the larger. But all that being said, I think there's something to be said about the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, Bruce Arians was in a Super Bowl prior to Brady, or am I making that up?
Not as a coach, no.
Not as a coach.
No,
Okay.
no.
Why did I think he did with the one of those Cardinals?
He might have been against the Steelers, right?
That's what I thought. I thought that the one with Larry Fitz and Palomalu, that Arians was coach, but I could be wrong there. So all I'm saying is, to that point, is that Brady still needed solid coaching around him to make it happen. And I still need to give credit to Todd Bowles as well. But let's be honest, the Bucs are not a good team this year. Again, that entire division is horrible. So in those years that we've seen this before, where because division titles guarantee a playoff spot, this happened with the Seahawks, the year that the Beastquake happened against the Saints. This happened a couple of years ago. I want to say it was us. No, it wasn't us. It was you guys 2 years ago, when our entire division was complete garbage. What Dak with the broken leg. And then the other three teams were just not good. And you guys made it in, I think, 7-9.
7-9. It was terrible.
So it happens. So credit that he was the best of the worst right now. And we'll see what happens. I think the way that we're playing, there is a very real possibility, because Brady has owned the Cowboys his entire career, that they can win this. I still don't think that they have a shot in hell, personally. But that's me. But all that being said, I still think that Brady reached the peaks that he reached because he had Belichick as a coach. And it is very clear that Belichick reached the peaks that he reached because he had Brady as a quarterback.
100%. And let me clarify this with Bruce Arians. I misspoke here. He did not go to the Super Bowl as the coach of the Cardinals. He took them to postseason twice. He won one division title and went to the NFC Championship game once in 2015, but never went to the Super Bowl. He was he received a second Coach of the Year in 2014. So he's had two Coaches of the Year. So definitely a damn good coach. I don't know if he's not a Super Bowl winning coach, but he's certainly a damn good coach. And certainly that Buccaneers team was stacked when Brady got there. But he dragged the carcass of that team into the playoffs this year. And so we'll see what they can do, what kind of damage they can do in the playoffs. But Belichick, over and over again, cannot win without Brady. It's very clear. He had that one season with Matt Castle, where I think they were 11-5 that year. But then the last few years here without him, it clearly shows the limits of what he's able to do. And you can't even say, well, Bill Belichick, it's a different situation. He picked his players. He's the GM on the team, in essence. So all the buck stops and ends with him. So this is the situation you have to look at here and do analysis of it all. And nothing says Bill couldn't have left to coach a stacked team a la Phil Jackson. So, those are the possibilities there. Like Phil Jackson go to the Lakers. Those are the possibilities. He could go to a stacked team right now that just needs a head coach and head on off to the Super Bowl and shut a lot of people up. But the New England ties are very strong, and I'd be really surprised if he walked away at this point in this situation. So,
I'm just like, I'm looking at this honestly, and I think that that's so crazy that the Lions, because I didn't realize this. I did bad math. I was like, oh, good for the Lions for beating the Packers, and now they're also in the playoffs.
No,
but that's not even at all what happened.
No,
is that they beating the Packers, all they did was deny the Packers from getting in, and then the Seahawks got that last seed. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. I was excited to see Lion playoff football based off of that. I didn't realize that's what happened. I clearly wasn't paying enough attention, but
that's all right. But speaking of that game, let's get into that game now. This game here with the Packers, they crashed out of the playoffs in that loss to the Lions here. Pretty surprising, considering it was in Green Bay. It's in December, and you've got Green Bay come. I think they're on a 4 or 5 game winning streak coming into this game. The Lions had nothing to play for. They found out in the pregame huddle that the Seahawks had beaten the Rams and had qualified for the playoffs over the Lions. No matter what the Lions did against the Packers, they were out. So they played spoiler here. And damn if they didn't do it, led by their former running back for the Packers, Jamal Williams here, who came in and scored a couple of touchdowns. He had 17 touchdown runs this season for the Lions to break Barry Sanders' record of single-season touchdowns that he set in 1991. and they won this game over these Packers and knocked them out of the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers walking around the field with Randall Cobb, taking one look at everything, just like he did last year. Melodrama King did his whole thing here. And you got to give it up to the Lions, though, and Dan Campbell. They rebounded from a 1-6 start by winning 8 of their last 10 games and could have gotten the job of it if they hadn't blown it against the Panthers. Like, if they had a little more composure against the Panthers a couple of weeks ago, they could be looking at a playoff berth for themselves, which would have been an even more amazing turnaround. So what do you take out of this game about the Packers coming up short in January, yet again, led by Aaron Rodgers, yet again, and these Lions who look like they can run through walls now for Dan Campbell?
I mean, there's a lot to be said here. Jared Goff didn't really make any major mistakes.
Nope.
Just looking at the numbers, I obviously didn't watch the game, so I don't know if there were bad passes he made that just didn't turn into turnovers. But the Lions put their foot on the Packers' neck, bro, and clearly didn't let go. Looking at these numbers, looking at the breakdown and everything like that, I think this is less of a case against Rodgers and more that this Packers team just ain't it. Because Christian Watson still showed up. He's become a bona fide ex receiver, bro. He's clearly the best receiver on that team, but that's not going to be enough. The run game was abysmal. You figured out 100 yards over the course of whatever, but Aaron Jones and Aaron Dillon, your two stud running backs, neither could break 50 yards. The average for Aaron Jones was 4 yards a carry, and AJ Dillon was 3.7. Like your run game did not get situated at all, and that is a problem. That is a massive, massive problem. You need more than that. And to be honest with you, that's not my focus. You want to know where the Packers are clearly not ready for the show, they're for the dance, and Rodgers is here with a bunch of young kids that just don't have their shit together. I look at the ejection from Quay Walker. Why the fuck are you pushing medical personnel? And then you want to turn around and be like, "Oh, I regret it." Like, for no reason. This medical trainer is coming up to check. I don't know who's down there.
It's DeAndre Swift.
And he pushed him. What the fuck are you doing? Why?
And then
what
Wyatt comes in.
Reason?
Listen, let's look at it. Look, he just puts his hand on him. That's all he does. He puts his hand on him and be like, "Hey, guy, can I come through here?" That's all. And Quay shoves him, and then Wyatt comes up and gives him the street shove right there from behind. You know that shove. When your guy comes up and gives that little nudge there. He was trying to intimidate him. And even Matt LaFleur was like, "What are you thinking?"
It's stupid shit.
And the whole reason he was down, DeAndre Swift was down, was because of Jaron Reed launching that forearm into his mouth. That was a horrible forearm while he was defenseless. So
absolutely,
the Packers, I think, at this point in the game, were just super pissed that they were losing the Lions, that they were going to crash out of the playoffs, and they became babies, little babies.
Literally, you saw when he got ejected. They had the camera on him in the tunnel. He was like hitting his helmet on the wall and all that. And I get it, you get emotional when you
of course,
but you're throwing a temper tantrum because you fucked up. And you fucked up in a way that made no sense. This wasn't like in the heat of the game.
Right.
Like, you could make the argument. We talked about this years ago with the whole Myles Garrett thing and the white boy and I don't even remember that quarterback's name because he's trash anyway. He got hit in the head with the helmet. And like, you could make the arguments about assault, heat of the passion, like things that were potentially said. There's a lot there. There's nothing. There is no reason for this to happen unless I find out that this medical staff dude was like fucking this player's wife and like happened to be like, hey, it comes out, he goes, "Hey, Walker," and then he goes over to try and help this dude. There is zero reason for you to do that. Like, there's not a single reason for you to fucking do that. And you look like a petulant child. And that was, it's funny because I was then having a discussion with a buddy of mine. Should these players get paid as much as they do for playing a blood sport? Yes. For everything that's on the line, they should get the amount of money that they get, considering the amount of people that watch and considering that they are constantly putting their lives on the line. At the same time, looking at a 24-year-old, this is the problem with putting athletes on this pedestal since they're like 10 or 12 and thinking that rules don't apply to them. You see people that gets to their head and they make stupid ass decisions. That was fucking dumb and it was disrespectful. And like you said, on the week of Damar Hamlin when a medical staff person literally saved a man's life. You think that it's okay to just come push a medical staff person that is there to make sure that a downed player is okay. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It wasn't even the first time he did it here against Buffalo, as our own Justin Toner was watching. We're not going to test. Here he is against, this was earlier in the same season. Earlier this season, here he is on the sidelines. This guy's helping him up. He is helping him up, and boom, he shoves him.
So
he
also,
is helping up.
So he's also a little bitch, because what you're telling me, you want to come say something to me, fine. What you're telling me is he's doing this. He's doing this to people that are not in the game. You're not checking up another football player.
Right.
You're pushing medical staff and coaches.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with
the head
you?
coach? If this has gone on longer, you see him rip away from the head coach there from McDermott. So
I thought he pushed McDermott, but it doesn't matter. You're pushing people not in pads that have nothing to directly do with the actual action of the game. What is wrong with you?
And I saw Ryan Clark tweet out today that people without helmets shouldn't touch people with helmets. Fuck that. If I'm a trainer and time is of the essence, I don't have a time for you to hear me and make sure you understand what I'm saying behind you before I go and administer medical help. Because those extra 2 or 3 seconds, because you can't fucking hear me or you're not paying attention, could mean the difference between life and death on someone who's on the ground. So to me, this idea that you should never touch someone who's not wearing pads or not wearing, if you're not wearing a helmet, you shouldn't. That's ridiculous.
That's the exact opposite. That's the exact opposite, in the sense that it's one thing about putting hands on people and stuff like that. But if a coach needs you to fucking move. And if a medical staff person needs you to fucking move. Those, because both of them, truthfully, obviously the players need to play. But if a coach is trying to rush to get something to somebody involved in something, that is a perfect example to get the hell out of the way. And then if somebody is injured and down, you also are not qualified to take care of that person. Move. I completely disagree. Now, if you're talking about like the towel boy, if he's like, hey, move, Quay Walker, sit you the last down, towel boy. That's disrespectful. Know your role. But you're talking about two people in those situations whose status is above said players, because one is protecting one person's life and the other one is making sure that the game moves forward as a team. Yeah.
And there it is. Walker's dead wrong. He had to be better. It's certainly an unsportsmanlike penalty. People not in helmets shouldn't touch people with them helmets either, especially not in the heat of it. I do realize the trainer's just doing this very important job. I understand. He basically walked both sides of the fence here, but just even implied that you shouldn't touch them, I think, is completely off base. And you made some excellent points here.
But again, looking at what it was, he didn't run up to be like, move, you stupid son of a bitch. He's like, dude, move. I'm trying to get to the person.
Yeah.
So like, and I get, when you're in warrior mode, I get that you're kind of, but you still, What's interesting about that to me is a situation where, to a point, if things get super aggressive and physical quickly, fine. I will give you this idea of blinders are on, but you're talking about players that have to be able to read coverages. They have to understand how certain things are going to break down. You were using a lot of your mental capacity to play this game. You're telling me that you get a small tap on your shoulder, you can't look for a second and go, medical dude. You can't look at that at all, or you push him and you immediately go, oh shit, my bad, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't agree with that at all. You know what I'm saying? If you are, again, actively agitating these folks all day, leave the people that are playing the game alone. But if you've got somebody that has a real reason to be in a rush,
and he didn't even touch him. Like, he didn't shove him. He touched him in a submissive position and respectful on his arm, down there on his forearm, so that he'd understand, like, hey, I'm here, I need to get through. That's what it was. It wasn't like, hey man, get the fuck out of the way, I got to get to my guy. Like, there's a difference. And I do want to be fair to Quay. He did apologize. This is what he tweeted out. I want to publicly apologize about what happened Sunday night. I reacted off of my emotions again and take full responsibility for making another stupid decision. Since then, I've questioned myself on why I do what I did when the trainer was doing his job. I was wrong. So as much as we may criticize him for the heat of the moment and things he did, him walking off the field, as you said, down the tunnel, screaming at himself, crying and slamming his helmet, we also have to give him credit for the fact that he was man enough to apologize when a lot of people don't like to apologize. And certainly tweeting it out for everyone to see, I think, is fair, and berating himself all in the tweet. I think he shouldn't berate himself too hard, because you don't want this to become a mental health situation, but certainly you appreciate the fact that he was willing to take responsibility for what he did quickly.
I'm glad that he apologized. That's something, but like, at the same time, like you said, this is now a pattern of behavior. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
also
yeah.
talking about a situation where it's like, what is he not going to apologize?
Yeah,
You think that was going to go over well? Like I would expect that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is going forward, honestly, because you gotta just, even when you apologize, you have to understand that people are allowed to be mad.
Yes, of course.
That is something that's okay. So fine, the apology can be accepted, but now we need to see legitimate change. Now there has to be a situation where we don't see any more ejections from Quay Walker the rest of his career.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I agree with you, dude. I agree with you, and we hope that happens. We hope the Bills, get him with people who can help him figure this thing out, and so it doesn't happen again. Because it is, I mean, twice in one season, dude, to get ejected for that, that's bad. Because you're a good player on the team, and I just want to make it clear.
He's a first round draft pick for the Packers. They need him to be that leader and to be that guy. Now, to that point, we've seen with Ndamukong Suh, for example, he was considered that bad boy, like the stomp on the ground. There was all sorts of moments, and understandably so. People were like, "Bro, you got to figure your shit out."
Yeah,
and he grew up and he did, and that's the one thing I will give Quay a little bit of leeway here. He's 24. So this is a situation. He's a rookie. He's 24 years old. He's a kid. Like, yes, he's technically an adult, but they've said that your brain doesn't start developing and stop developing until you're about 25.
Yeah.
Some people are as old as 27. So, like, fine. I will give a pass there if there is real growth after this. But again, people are allowed to be upset. In this moment, you can be sorry about something, and people need to let their emotions die down over it.
Exactly. Hell no, I'm saying, he's also a rookie, so this is a viable teaching moment for the rest of his career. Good point.
Absolutely.
Hill. Good to see you in here, Hill. Thanks for joining us live, bro. All right, let's hit some of these Streamlabs real quick, and then we'll move on to the rest of the games. Doug Developer says, "Hi, guys. Do you think it's possible if there to be GOATs, but other players are the best? For example, MJ and Brady's accomplishments make them GOATs, but some sports pundits say LeBron and even Mahomes right now are the best they have ever seen."
Yes. I 1,000%. I make this argument all the time. I do not think that Brady is the most skilled / talented quarterback of all time, but I do think he is the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, I would actually put up there that Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, and you're looking at Mahomes as well. Those are all three names off the top of my head that I think that are actually more skilled and potentially talented. But Brady knows how to do all the things. He may be like, I think a better example of this, Michael Vick had one of the strongest arms we have ever seen. This dude could bomb for 65, 70 yards, but there are much better quarterbacks. Take his running out of it for a minute. There are much better quarterbacks about as people that are moving the ball down the field, that are making precision throws, that translates to victories. Vic got a lot of them, but you see what I'm saying? Just in that regard. So I genuinely think that Aaron Rodgers, for example, is more talented than Brady, but Brady's a GOAT. Same thing with Michael Jordan. I think we're done personally with the conversation about who's the GOAT between Jordan and LeBron, just based off of how a lot of this postseason stuff has gone for LeBron.
Yeah.
But just from looking at it pound for pound, some of the things that LeBron has done on the court, his longevity, I genuinely think that just top to bottom, LeBron is a more skilled, talented player than Jordan, but Jordan's a completely different animal. There's a reason why Batman can't beat Superman like straight up, but Batman is kind of the GOAT compared to Superman, and he has a number of other ways to beat him. He doesn't just have to be stronger than him.
Yeah. It's like I'm the GOAT and Dan's good too. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm joking. Totally joking. I'm joking. Dan is always the GOAT. He's always been the GOAT.
Shit.
Well, let's take a quick break. We got a couple more streamlines to get through. We'll jump into some more games right after this. I love you, Dan. In case he's watching, just in case. I love you, Dan. All right, let's hit some Streamlabs here. Mike Joyce saying the Bears had a great day yesterday. They successfully tanked their way over the last 10 games and now have the #1 pick thanks to the best Bears coach in the last 20 years, Lovie Smith. Yes. What do you think the Bears should do with that #1 pick? Great question, Mike Joyce. Yeah, it didn't even occur to me until you said this, that Lovie was the Chicago Bears coach for their most recent heyday. So why wouldn't he find a way to get the Texans to win this game so they could the Bears could get the #1 pick? It cost him his job, but he was probably going to get fired anyway. but still, what I didn't even put that together. So that's great.
Wait. Say that one more time. I missed that.
Lovie Smith is the coach of the
Texans, right?
Right. And so they beat the Colts, and in beating the Colts, they got one more victory than the Bears. So it gave the Bears the number 1 pick because the Bears lost the game yesterday. So Lovie Smith helping out his former coach. You know, we used to say this in Liverpool, once a Red, always a Red. So you could say once a Bear, always a Bear with Lovie Smith.
Bro, you look, sometimes you're just out here in these streets. And you just maybe this is a deep mold. You know how many times Black Widow went from like Hydra to Shield to Hydra to Shield.
I mean,
so finally it was like she's a good guy. Like you know what I mean? Like this might just be one of those situations where ooh.
I mean, you've got 5 quarterbacks in the first round. If you don't think if you don't think Justin is your answer, then you could, or if you do think Justin is your answer, and you've got the number 1 pick, then you can negotiate for sure.
You could leverage. You could go get someone to leverage the house, because do you know how many people desperately need quarterbacks, including the Texans, the Colts. I'm trying to think who else.
The Commanders,
you guys, Carolina, Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Eventually, maybe the Packers. If Aaron is like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." The Raiders, maybe. The 49ers, I mean, obviously Purdy is doing a good job, but do they consider him the quarterback of the future? Does Trey Lance come back, and is he able to do what he's supposed to do? Do you keep Jimmy G? There's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks right now. So if the Bears don't need it, whoo boy, you might see the Bears take a massive leap forward, because they scored a lot of points this year, even though they didn't win. If you can leverage that to like a couple picks, and you get a solid receiver, because they don't necessarily have anybody super crazy right now. Right. So you go get a solid receiver and a really strong defensive player, bro. The Bears could be terrifying. Yeah,
absolutely. And especially if they put it together in the right way, the Bears could absolutely be terrifying. We shall see. And the Texans, yes, they didn't get the number 1 pick. There's 5 QBs though that are roaming around there that a lot of people think are first round talent. So the Texans are going to be fine with what they do, and especially if the Bears trade down, they're going to be fine, because there's like Bryce Young, there's Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, there's a Will Levis there from Kentucky. There's a number of quarterbacks that they can pick up here, Ohio State's CJ Stroud, even depending on how they kind of analyze his work over the last few games and where he might go. So yeah, it's a smart move overall for the Bears to trade down. I'm Two Fly Cam says, how about them Cowgirls? Dak will throw a minimum of 2 picks and lose to Brady and the Bucks. I think Casey or the Chargers win the whole thing. Wow.
Chargers? You must be a Chargers fan. The Chargers are not winning shit. They might win 1 game. Who are they playing? Hold on. Let me look.
They're playing Jacksonville in Jacksonville.
Dude, I actually think that Jacksonville has that game. And that's wild.
Don't give it away yet. We're going to talk about that.
Because here's the thing. I definitely think personally that Herbert is a better quarterback than Lawrence. Lawrence had a hell of a season, but I still
he's had an extra year of seasoning, I would say, with Herbert.
I agreed, and he's also had a healthier team
and a better coach
than Herbert. But the Chargers, bro, I just don't have any faith in them until I get to see them be like healthy and put a string at. Yes, you won 10 games. Amazing. Let's never take that away from them. But what do you see what the Jaguars, and not just because they beat us, have you seen what the Jaguars did this season? Like, and you kind of backpedaled your way into it when you consider that, again, Raiders are not good. We've made that very clear. And the Broncos were abysmal. That was an automatic. Didn't the Chargers win out against the both of those teams?
Yeah. So they got their job.
You got 4 free wins. So take those out real quick. And what? Well, God damn it. I have to eat my own words real quick, because the Jaguars have the Texans, the Titans, and the Colts in their division.
Right.
All right, fine. I'll walk back my statement because I thought about it for a minute. Jesus. But I don't know. I have a lot more faith in the Jaguars and at home than I do at the Chargers right now. I don't. The Chargers win, though.
They didn't. They lost to the Broncos, but they weren't playing their starters.
Yeah.
like Dallas played. They're losing. They lost.
Fucking mouth. Okay, shut your mouth. That was for you. I wanted you to have a little bit of dignity going into this shitty offseason so you can think about the things you did, like release that shitty ass statue, release that shitty ass fucking.
All I think about is that we should have fucking started Sam Howell last game. That's all I was thinking
about this. This was for you, because we didn't need that shit. We just needed to make sure. I needed Dak to know what it felt to throw one more pick six so his bitch ass can get it out of his system. That's what that was. All right.
That's
totally fuck you, fair. Rocha.
They had lost to the Raiders, by the way. They lost to the Raiders 27-20 about 5 weeks or 6 weeks back.
The Chargers did.
The Chargers did. So
God damn it, the Chargers gonna lose, bro.
We'll see what you got. I mean, everyone's come back healthy now. The Chargers are getting healthy at the right time. Like the 49ers get. Jesus Christ, the 49ers get. Brock Purdy just has to sit back in a lounge chair and throw the ball over the line. It is insane how stacked the Chargers are getting now. They got Elijah Mitchell back yesterday. They got oh God, what's his name? I forget. Number 19, the guy who had been doing everything. Debo Samuel. They got Debo Samuel back now. So, my God, what are you going to do against that team?
That's the problem. Look at all those weapons. Kittle's not the way Kittle used to be, but Kittle's still Kittle. You got Kittle, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got fucking Christian McCaffrey. Like, and on top of that, this Jordan Mason kid was also like doing a decent amount of work as this backup running back. Yeah. That offense is already ridiculous that Purdy just has to not fuck up. But that defense is insane. In my opinion, at this point, the Super Bowl is the 49ers game to lose.
I think it's 49ers Bills. That's what I think in my mind.
And I don't even think the Bills have a shot. What the Bills have in their corner is all of America. That is what the Bills have. The 49ers look like fucking Frieza, and the Bills are Goku asking for a spirit bomb, bitch. It doesn't mean that they're not strong, because Goku was strong in his own, but it wasn't enough to take goddamn Frieza on. He needed to have a Super Saiyan explosion out of his brain in order for him to beat Frieza. The Niners are fucking terrifying. I literally do not see a team that can take them on like that.
Yeah.
There are teams that are good enough to give them trouble, and that in any given Sunday they can win.
Sure.
But this ain't a competition. The Niners are terrifying.
Brock Purdy is 5-0 as a starter of the Niners. He is playing better than
Cooper Rush. Who? like Cooper Rush went 4-0. We'll give him 4-1. He went 4-0, almost won that 5th game. Ain't nobody talking about no goddamn Cooper Rush. Everybody talking about Brock Purdy 5-0, bitch.
5-0. The scary part of this, I haven't felt the team was this scary since the 85 Bears. That's the truth. Like that defense, I know there were Ravens teams that were scary as well with their defenses, but I never really gave much credit to Flacco or to Dilfer. But seeing Purdy's calm command of the offense, he might not even have to throw, but if he does, he's hitting throws that a seasoned quarterback hits, and you're seeing this happen. And so I don't know, it's going to be crazy to see how this playoffs go out on the NFC, because there's a lot of great teams out there that are going to have to smash into the brick wall that is the San Francisco 49ers right now, for God's sakes. I agree with you, Vincent. The 2000 Ravens defense was an all-timer. Absolutely. No doubt. The Seahawks defense, of course, was an all-timer as well, but this 49ers defense looks like it give the Bears defense a run for its money for sure. And nobody killed anybody on this defense. All right. Anyway, what is the next thing? Hill Nellum sent something in. Thank you, Hill. He says, Rocha, how excited are you for Gakpo coming to Liverpool? Yeah, it was fine. He played the other day on the FA Cup. It's going to take some time to incorporate him into the team, and we kind of bombed it out against the Wolves, which was terrible. Do you think it's enough to have them turn a corner in the second half and come up short to Arsenal? I don't know. Manchester City is 5 points away, man. It gets, take it from me, we know, we've been there. It gets shaky when those points go to single points and you come to the back half of the season. We'll see if Arsenal can stay healthy. We'll see if they can keep going toe-to-toe with Man City, who plays Man United, I think, tomorrow or today. So we'll see what happens in that situation for them. Winston, how confident are you in a deep Cowboys run? Can Dak be trusted, Winston?
Here's the thing. Here's 100% the thing.
Break it down.
It's not really on Dak. I understand that.
Wow.
If he does that on a final play, if he does this in a situation like with the Jaguars, but that wasn't even on him, that was on Noah Brown being like, and then handing it off to the Jaguars player for a pick six to end the game. If he does some stupid shit like that, fine. Then it is directly on Dak.
Yeah.
But what was the actual crowning achievement of this team at the start of the year? Everybody was talking about Micah Parsons and how scary this defense was. Losing Brown as a corner was not good and has really hurt us. If they do not figure out a solution on how to deal with that going forward, we could see a first round exit. And that's another, like that shit has to stop. So for me, I make the argument that this is more on our defense being what they were at the start of the season than it is Dak, unless Dak just fully self-destructs. I do have faith in him. We paid him a lot of money to do so. He's had some phenomenal games, even amongst turnovers, because I look at he started that Eagles game with the fucking turnover, and then he turned around, kept his composure, and won that game, including a 3rd and 30 to T.Y. Hilton. That was insane. That shit was insane. So can Dak do it? Absolutely. And do I have faith in him? Yes.
Okay.
But I need the whole team to step up.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. All right, one more here from.
Real quick, I shared something real quick about the Niners.
Okay, let's do it.
You want to talk about scary? So here's a list of teams. ESPN did this last week. Here's a list of teams that had 9-game winning streaks going into the postseason.
Okay,
you see, this is the first team to have a 10-game winning streak.
Wow.
Outside of the Patriots going perfect or the Dolphins going perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are going to be completely different. But you look here, Washington made it to the Super Bowl. The Niners and the Giants in 84 won the Super Bowl. The Saints didn't, but the Falcons made it in 98 to the Super Bowl. Right. Obviously, the Patriots made it to the Super Bowl. They didn't win. But to have a 10-game winning streak going to the postseason like this and playing the way that they're playing, it's fucking terrifying, and the Niners are the favorite to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think the Niners are the favorite to win in the NFC side of things.
Period. I'm not going to let you do this. You did this all season, and then it always bit you in the ass. I'm not letting you do this, Rocha.
I just trying to be fair here. Justin Toner says, hi, guys. As a Bills fan, that opening kick return for a touchdown sent chills down my spine. What a moment. I'm hoping Bills can go all the way this season. Loved the Lions going all out to knock the Packers out. If they get a few more pieces, look out NFC. Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. I don't think they're that far away at all, Justin. The way they played in the back half of the season, sometimes it takes a while for a coach to get through to his players. Dan had that tough season last year. There were a number of reasons there were tough seasons last year. This year, kind of figured it out, and the way it started out, they were close in a lot of those games they were losing, and then eventually they turned that corner after that loss to the Jags and really focused on even Goff said, I realized I had to take a look at myself in the mirror and start believing in what I can do again. And so if you've got a young quarterback like Goff, who, by the way, has been to a Super Bowl and has that experience, has that seasoning, and you start surrounding him with just a couple more, maybe 3-4 more players, you never know how much the sky is the limit. Amon St. Brown has been fantastic for them as a receiver. They've got Jamal Williams now coming on as their running back. So, and that defense is tight. That defense is strong. Bro. You just never know what you're going to have with these Lions, and they could absolutely be a scary team. And don't be surprised that by the time this is all over, Winston and everybody who's watching, the Lions could win this trade against the Rams if Goff keeps them in and Campbell keep them in contention for a Super Bowl and at least win one of them. They will absolutely win the trade where Stafford looks like he's already cooked and might retire tomorrow.
I mean, that's the thing. I just never personally have believed in Goff, and I got to give him credit in that he has taken a massive step forward this year. If he can continue to improve like this, you're right. That would, but I don't think that there is a situation where you say that anybody would have won the trade. So far, the Rams are the ones that won the trade. And if the Lions do something with Goff, that doesn't mean that they won that. I think you needed to have the right situation for Goff. The Los Angeles was not a good situation. And Los Angeles was in a position where we have to win right now.
Yeah.
Because you have Aaron Donald in his peak, and he was only going to be there for so much longer. You had a Cooper Kupp that was stepping up and becoming that guy.
Yeah.
And you had a bunch of players that you were bringing in that were aged, but they still had it, and this was their moment. I mean, Von Miller obviously had already won a Super Bowl, but you brought him in to come try and help you win a second one.
Yeah.
OBJ bringing him in, and obviously he helped until he got injured in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You were looking at dudes that this was the Expendables. Let's get the old ass crew together and see if we can fucking win this thing. Because now what are the Rams? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like
now what's Sean McVay? A lot of rumors saying he's done coaching in the NFL.
That which would be wild, because remember how he came in as the hot newness, being like the youngest coach, he's killing it. And all the women looking at him, they talk about McVay, all the ladies talk about McVay the way they talk about Jimmy G, where it's like there are times where like they are overachieve or not overachieve, but they're like being extremely successful. But most women are like, oh, yeah, he cute though. Like that's really what they've been saying about McVay. So you don't want to just be the cute person. You want to be the cute person that's also super successful. And obviously he was successful enough to make it to two Super Bowls and win one of them. But you want him to get, God damn, this man is winning at life.
Bro.
He is winning at life. So wait a minute. I'm assuming that's his wife on the left. Who's in the center?
That's probably her sister.
Bro.
Good God.
This man.
Oh, no. His wife is the one in the middle. Look.
How? That doesn't make sense. No, the dress. No, look at the dress. Look at the dress. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, no, that's his wife, and that must be maybe his in-law. That's crazy. This man is fucking winning. I think if he's done coaching, whatever, you made millions, you won a Super Bowl, you went to another one, go do some TV shit and maybe return to coaching in like 5 years or something like that. What a boss. Good for him.
I mean, Prime Video offered him $10 million a year to be the analyst on their Thursday games, and he turned it down, and that's when they went to Buck and Aikman. So
I thought
whoever's working on the Thursday nights. Yeah,
it's Collinsworth and somebody else.
Tirico, right? Isn't it Tirico?
No. Tirico is Sunday night with
Al Michaels. It's Al. Yeah.
Or maybe I'm getting him backwards. Collinsworth and Tirico are Sunday Night Football. Okay. And then who did you just say?
I thought Aikman and Buck were doing Thursday night.
Aikman and Buck are Monday. Who was the other one that used to Al Michaels and somebody else do Thursday Night Football?
Gotcha. Oh, Kirk Herbstreit. Right. That's it. Thank you, Justin. I don't know
who that is.
Kirk Herbstreit used to be on College Game Day, and he calls college games.
Okay.
So yeah, he's a former Ohio State player, I believe.
Okay. So it's Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on Thursday. Yeah. It's Sunday night is Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico, and Monday is now Troy and Joe Buck.
Chris Collinsworth. You know, these Chiefs, Al, these are the best team I've ever seen. Anyway, so that's the situation there. Let's see. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. And absolutely, that opening kickoff, I felt the same way. I was working out, watching that kickoff in the garage, and when it happened, I had stopped my work. I just sat there and got emotional for a couple of minutes before I could get back on the stepper. So shout out. It was beautiful.
Random question, Rocha.
Yeah.
If you're on the Patriots special teams and you see him blow by two of your dudes and you know what's going on in the world, do you run a little slower once he's beaten your first two dudes? Do you just kind of go, just take it?
I have a job to protect.
So I get it.
No, but
I get it.
But I might not stretch out as far.
I am looking. I looked at that play, and they clearly were trying to stop him. The first few dudes that tried to tackle him, but there's a point at which it kind of looks like he's like, go ahead. I just
right at the back half, those last two guys, you could tell they were pulling up a little bit. You could tell.
They look like they kind of put they were like, okay.
People forget this is a fraternity, and when you're watching your fellow players in a situation and a team is doing something, sometimes that takes precedence in a certain moment. Sometimes, I'm not saying always, just saying sometimes. And it doesn't mean they're not being unprofessional.
I mean zero disrespect by that. I'm not saying that they were like, here, have a free touchdown. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that once you got past the main couple of dudes that were trying to stop you, there's one dude who was kind of going for it. He's like, I'm gonna have to go like 110 and
right. It's true.
Good touchdown, bro. Like,
we're getting a lot of Streamlabs today. Let's hit another one here. I'm Two Fly Cam says scary. Mahomes put 44 on a healthy 49ers team at their house and blew them out. LOL. Mahomes and Reed hope they see the 49ers again.
But again, you have to remember what that was. That was the start of the
fucking quarterbacking.
That was the start of the season before the 49ers knew who they were. And yes, the Chiefs, in my opinion, they're the favorites to come out of the AFC. There's a lot of killers. Obviously, the Bills are still the Bills. And again, they have all of America on their side. So, like, there's that. But the Bengals are still the reigning and AFC champs and look like they could go back to the Super Bowl. And I put respect on the Chiefs' name. All that being said, the scariest team in football, and I know you have Patrick Mahomes, is the goddamn 49ers. That defense was not playing Mahomes like that when they played. Yeah. I would love to see that matchup because I would be rooting for the Chiefs because I fucking hate the 49ers, but I am going to acknowledge what's going on here.
Yeah. And as the tribal chief might say, acknowledge me. And you've got to acknowledge the 49ers for sure. And look, the 49ers at the time were 3-4. The Chiefs were 5-2. Jimmy G was their quarterback. So it was a different situation. And they barely had gotten McCaffrey, I think, a week or two before. So still incorporating him into the offense. They didn't have, again, I forgot his name. They didn't have Deebo Samuel was there, but only had 5 receptions for 42 yards. So they weren't quite who they were. Now you talk about it. Now they're confident that they've got a quarterback behind the center that can do a damn good job. That puts a lot more confidence on a defense, man. So I think it's gonna be crazy.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it real quick. Okay. I'm going to acknowledge a few things. So first of all, looking at their 10-game winning streak after this, I see only 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4 playoff teams here. One that, in my opinion, doesn't deserve it in the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Wow.
They don't, bro.
They won their division. They're 9-8. They have a winning record.
Them. but the Seahawks and how they've been doing this season, fine.
Yeah.
So I get it. They beat the Rams,
the
Cardinals twice, you guys, the Raiders. I get it.
Yeah. The Chargers.
But they literally did not lose a game.
Yeah.
After that loss.
After that 49ers game, or after that Chiefs game, they didn't lose a game.
They did not lose.
That tells you something.
A game. They lost not another game.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the Chiefs lost to the Bengals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They almost lost at one point to the Broncos. They obviously put a cap on it, but they almost lost to the Broncos twice. The game that, the score sometimes is misleading how that happened, but that was something that put them on their toes.
The Texans, they almost lost to the Texans.
That doesn't mean that the Chiefs aren't the favorite coming out of the AFC. There's a reason they have the number 1 seed, but bro, let's not do this.
Yeah,
please.
Sorry, they're 8-9. You're right. Are they 8-9? I thought they were 9-8. The Bucks.
No. They're 8.
Oh, because they lost.
No, dude, they got in with the losing fucking record. They're not good. Stop this.
Sorry, they lost to the Falcons yesterday, but I mean, Brady played 10 snaps. Brady didn't play.
Brady also
was trying to win that game.
Once they started to lose, they started to just because they weren't really playing for anything. But once they started to screw it up, they said, "Fine, we're not going to injure anybody. Just take the rest. Fuck it."
Sean Brennan's so angry. Oh, Monster County, fucking county. Yes, Sean.
Well, no, we have to because that's again not taking away from one that Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. Let's be very real. But an MVP doesn't mean shit. Go ask Peyton Manning. How many MVPs do you wish that you bet he would want to turn in so he could go have Super Bowl rings? Let's be honest about that shit because he was MVP multiple times and that did not translate. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. I bet you Aaron Rodgers would love to turn in some of those MVPs to be back at a Super Bowl because he's only been to 1. I know he's 1-1 on Super Bowls, but I bet you he would like to go back.
He's only won 1. Yeah, you're right. He's 1-1, like you said. Yeah, it's been to 2, but only 1. Yeah.
But all that being said, what I'm saying is, yes, the Chiefs are playing incredible football.
Yeah.
The 49ers are playing God mode football right now. That's what I'm saying. You clearly if you got time to do snow globe dancing plays, bro, they called it the snow globe. I thought it was funny It was mad disrespectful.
I thought it was super disrespectful.
Oh, no. I'm here for it. Not disrespectful in like a you push the medical staff type of way. I mean disrespectful, like, really, bitch? You gonna do this? This
isn't the annexation of Puerto Rico. Like that doing that move, I thought was because that was to win the game. This is you gloating. That's gloating what that shit was.
But that's
and
fine.
So to me, I'm telling you, every defense now in the NFL playoffs is like, oh, fucking try that here. Try that here.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest with you. I am of the mindset, it sucks when you're on the receiving end of it, but I am of the mindset that if you're good enough to do that and the team can't stop you, by all means, do what you do. At the same time, understand what beast you have potentially awoken in people.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, that was cocky.
Hey, look, they deserved it. How many Super Bowls have the Chiefs won?
With Mahomes or in general? Oh, is it one period?
One with Mahomes.
Just one. They
won one with Hank Stram back in Super Bowl III. That was the only
and
other
they just
one
couldn't finish the deal against Brady.
Right. So to me, this is Peyton Manning. You got one Super Bowl with the Broncos and one you got blown out with the Seahawks. So if he can't get to this is the thing. And people got a blood fuse. I got blood fuse. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Mahomes' window is closing, in my opinion.
See,
because
here's the problem.
Justin Herbert is coming on. He's already passed for more yards than Andrew Luck did in the first 3 seasons. And Andrew Luck had the record for passing yardage for the first 3 seasons of quarterback. Herbert passed that already. Trevor Lawrence looks like he's made the leap here in the second year. So you've got those quarterbacks to get to. Josh Allen is only going to get stronger and better. So this AFC looks stacked for quarterbacks. And God forbid Sean Payton come in and coach Russell Wilson to 1 or 2 good years as he goes into his golden years as a quarterback. We shall see, man.
Look, there ain't no blood feud. I have made it very clear.
No, he's talking to me. Like people accuse
me.
He
said I'm a part of it now too.
Oh, what?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I have made it very clear that Patrick Mahomes is probably my favorite player in the league. It may have changed now to CeeDee Lamb because he's always been like kind of right there. Now that he's like arrived as a receiver, he's kind of stolen that from my heart a little bit. But Patrick Mahomes is like my favorite player in the league. So no, it ain't nothing to do with that. Yeah. I'm just letting you know. Let's be really clear here. I need you to take off your red colored fucking glasses, Cyclops, and hear me out for a second. There is another team in red playing better football than you right now. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you can't still win it all. And it doesn't mean that you're not the favorite to come out of your conference.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you didn't beat them already. I am literally talking about how this game is going. In the same way with the Eagles. The Eagles look like they're in a little bit of trouble. Yes, they beat the Giants yesterday.
Yeah.
Fine. But there was a little baby bit of self-destructing that happened the last couple of weeks that people are like, okay, they're still really, really good, but can they keep it together all the way to the end? They
had to inject Jalen Hurts' shoulder with like all kinds of drugs to get him to finish that game, just to eke out the victory against third-string New York Giants.
That's not good.
Yeah.
If that's what's going on with the Eagles are in a lot of trouble. And how much would that suck?
Right.
Honestly, that ask Patriots fans to be the guy.
Yeah.
As a team, to be the team all year to blow it at the end. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's not good. It's not good. And Sean Brennan, I get it. Herbert has never won a fucking playoff game. Allen's never beat Mahomes in the playoffs. Guess who Mahomes has never beaten the playoffs and hasn't beaten him in the last 3 games? Joe Burrow. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Joe Burrow was 1 block away from winning the Super Bowl last year. If they're able to block that dude coming around on the left before he gets to Burrow completes that touchdown throw. And that's the game. So you look at that situation. So Burrow, and yes, so Sean, in that moment, I will absolutely count the almost. So to me, that's the team you got to worry about if you're the Chiefs. Yeah, worry about the Bills because they've got the emotion. They got the talent, obviously, but now the extra emotional motivation. But then you look at the Bengals, and the Bengals just have your number. Joe Cool does it with so much ease. He don't fear you. He does not fear you.
So excited for these playoffs, and I am so excited for the future of football. I wish that I had more faith that the Cowboys could be consistent going forward, and I'm hoping that we do something in these playoffs and that we can make some steps forward in the coming years as because we have a very exciting young core here. But just in general, I am ecstatic because it's never really fun when it's just one team doing everything. It is sort of cool if they're doing like the Chiefs look a lot like the Warriors, where it's kind of like they
Great
are
comparison.
doing a lot of really cool shit, running up scores. Mahomes looks like Curry out here, where the things he's doing don't make logical sense.
Right.
But you have to translate that. And the Warriors, where I give them the better credit there, is they did translate it. 4 out of the 6 times they went to the finals, or 4 of the 6, they went to the finals. They won that motherfucker. Right. You know what I'm saying? They completed that shit. Yeah. Now is the time for the Chiefs. If they're going to really be that team, if they're going to be a dynasty, cool. You are now 1-1 in Super Bowls. You need to go and win another one and let that be your signature if you want to exercise the demon now of not just a champion, but of a dynasty. You are not there yet. And all we're saying, as again, someone rooting for the Chiefs, you have a lot of stiff competition. You have a lot, bro.
That's what I would say. If you climb out of this AFC, if you're the Chiefs and you climb out of this AFC and you get to the Super Bowl and you beat the Bills or the 49ers, then you are an all-time team. You're an all-time team because this is one of the most stacked. I mean, once you get past Miami and the Seahawks, this is one of the most stacked, and maybe the Bucks too. This is one of the most stacked bunch of NFL playoff teams that you're going to see, with some great quarterbacks in charge of these teams. So if the Chiefs are able to climb out of this morass and hold the Lombardi Trophy at the end, then I think they'll have solidified their place as one of the greatest teams ever. Just like I needed Curry to win that championship without having Durant on the team, with Draymond Green maybe taking a little bit of a step down, Clay having to come on, young guys coming in.
Hey,
I think I give them way more credit for winning this last trophy than I do the 2 or 3 they won with Durant. So
they won 2 with Durant, and then one.
The first one they won, all credit to them. Then Durant comes in, it's like you stacked the deck.
But I think
winning right now. Yeah,
I think number 4. I think the one that they just did, just by proof of, I believe it was game 2, where Steph had like 50 or 60 points, like by himself. The team fell apart. Boston was running them. Yeah. He was running them like a goddamn, they were running them like pool sharks.
Yep.
And then Curry goes, fuck you bitches. We ain't going out like this. And he literally won game 2 by himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I see some wild shit from Mahomes, and it's not to say that he can't do it, but if I see something insane where like the Bengals defense is breaking them the fuck down, the run game is completely stopped, everybody's covered, and all of a sudden here comes Patrick Mahomes, who runs it for 15, fine, put the QB spy on him, and all of a sudden he's dropping dimes to Kelsey and shit while their defense is letting Burrow score at will, by all means. But all you have right now is you have a situation where a number of teams are ready to draw blood to win the Super Bowl, and they have the ability to do so. No one is discounting the Chiefs at all.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I know we joke about the blood for your stuff, but that's a great team. Can they get the job done in the AFC? We're going to see, because no one saw them losing the AFC Championship to the Bengals. No one fucking saw that last year. So everyone thought
Bengals, and that's what was wild, because then to play them again, and yes, it was only by a field goal, but to play them again and they still got your number. Now all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Let's take a quick break here, because we've gone over a half an hour here. So let's take a quick break and we'll jump into these playoff matchups and give our initial thoughts and predictions. And then we'll right after this. Whew, that's a lot to talk about here. We got a lot going on here.
We didn't even finish the games, which is fine. You want to do best of the rest of the other games.
I know. There's nothing. Yeah, we know who's in. We know who's out. I wanted to talk more about the Cowboys Commanders game, but what's there to say? I think the Cowboys were looking towards the playoffs. They weren't 100% focused. Yeah. We had a nice outing from Sam Howell, but already people are just like, oh, this guy should be our starter next year. Calm the fuck down, man. Calm the fuck down. All right. 179 yards. We did this with Heineke when he took us into the playoffs and played close to Brady in that playoff game. And look what happened. So, no. Howell, if he's he's got to compete for the job. We need to go get a new coach, a new GM. a new owner, hopefully, and then go from there, for God's sakes. But no, I mean, it's ridiculous, the shit they're saying. But yeah, look, it was nice to beat the Cowboys, of course, but it didn't mean anything. And the Cowboys didn't lose any seeding, and they're going to be right where they are in the playoffs. So, all right, let's get into these games here. All right, we've got Dallas at Tampa Bay, Baltimore at Cincinnati, Seattle at San Francisco, Chargers at the Jags, Giants at Vikings, Miami at Buffalo. We'll take them in that order. All right, Winston, we'll start with your team, Dallas, here, going on the road to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers there with that big old ship shooting cannons out at them and Tom Brady.
I think they got it. I think they need to really be practicing their ass off this week and really make sure they're on the same page. But I do not think the Bucs are a good team. And to be honest with you, if we lose, then we deserve all of the shit talking that's coming our way. This is, in my opinion, yes, you have the better quarterback.
Yeah.
But we have the better team. Let's just really look at this.
Do you think this is the end of? Go ahead. Sorry. So go ahead. Once again, finish your point.
I just, if you want to compare pound for pound, CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, has reached that top 10 receiver status. Mike Evans is still within the top 20. I mean, he had a very, very, very good season, but he can disappear at times. He honestly can. And CD has not done that this season. CD has always been a part of that. And if you look at the receiving core in general, between CD, T.Y. Hilton, who has become that threat, love the security blanket, and Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown can be a star, Gallup can be a star, and then the tandem of Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, that offense is stacked and that defense is strong. For the Bucs, if you look at it, there's been a lot of injury, there's a lot of age. So to that point, the Cowboys are the stronger team. The question is, do they have the will to win, or are we about to watch Brady do the same thing that Brady always does? And he has a thing. I think Dallas has this here. I say we win by a field goal.
Okay. All right. Some things to factor into this situation here is that the Cowboys are 1-4 on natural grass, which your former coach, Jason Garrett, mentioned on NBC's Football Night in America. That's a kind of a tough statistic. Brady is getting the ball out quicker than he ever has in his entire time as a quarterback at 2.3 seconds per pass, which is pretty incredible as well. So it all depends on how their man coverage does downfield. And if Brady is going to sit in the pockets long enough to wait for his receivers to get open, because the Cowboys are fourth in sacks in the NFL. So that's going to be the timing thing here. Can Brady stay in the pocket long enough for his receivers to get open downfield? Or will he start jacking it up? Or will the Cowboys get there quicker to sack him before he can throw those passes or get those passes off? So that's going to be the battle to me, is going to be the secondary and the O-line and the D-line there going at each other. I know that seems basic, but that's how you stop Brady. I think Dak is going to be just fine against his Buccaneers defense. And I think Elliott, all of them, they're going to be just fine against his Buccaneers defense. It's going to be if they get to Brady and sack him and start to make him question or throw quick balls, that's how I think they're going to win this game.
You just have to get to him. If you get to Brady, you can stop him, because that's the one thing that he has never done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He plays so smart, and he typically has such good O-lines that, okay, fine, one step adjustment and then hit my throw. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's very calm, cool, and collected. But when you have someone like Micah Parsons and that defense and then that pass rush, bro, hit him hard, hit him over and over and over again, and make him wish that he hadn't, gotten divorced.
Yeah. Jesus. Here's what I'll say. I think it's either going to be the Cowboys win 41-10, or it's going to be what you said, a field goal in difference at the end there, and the Bucs win this thing. That's how I think it's going to go. Because the Cowboys have all the ability to just absolutely whoop up on the Buccaneers if they can get a few things to break right for them and really.
And penalties. That's the other thing. We've lost a lot of games due to penalties, so we need to play a clean game.
Also, if the NFL wants Tom Brady to go to the next round, that's for sure.
Shut your ass up. You sound like all the people that were like, the NFL is clearly rigged. The Bills ran that first touchdown back on the opening kickoff for Damar Hamlin. The NFL is rigged.
It's America's team versus America's quarterback. All right, Baltimore at Cincinnati. A repeat of the game we just saw with Cincinnati beating Baltimore, avoiding the coin flip situation for them. So, but Baltimore rested a number of their starters. Lamar Jackson didn't play. J.K. Dobbins didn't play. One of their receivers didn't play. And some of their defensive guys didn't stay in for the whole game. So Do you think this was just Harbaugh going, look, there's no need to win this game. Yes, it would have given us possibly home field advantage in the playoffs, but we can come back here and beat this team. So do you think the Ravens come back and shock the Bengals here, or do you think the Bengals take care of business? Because they didn't look good in that second half. The Ravens kind of owned them in the second half of the game.
Did the Bengals win both?
This year, yes. Yes.
Okay, so the one thing that's always been said that I've kind of taken it home, and I've seen there's been proof of it. It is very hard to beat a team three times in a year.
Yeah,
it is very, very hard from a grudge standpoint, from a lessons learned and adjustment standpoint. It is very hard.
My fault. The Ravens beat them 19-17 in the 5th week of the season. So my bad.
Oh, so it's a split. All right. Knowing that, then I feel a little more comfortable picking I was going to pick the Bengals anyway.
Yeah.
In this situation, but I think it's up to the same thing. He only had 2 sacks, but one of them forced a fumble out of Burrow.
Yeah.
So that O-line has to stay strong, and especially when you consider, you have Lyle Collins. That's the other thing that's you lost him. And so can that gap that they had there, can they really, really make this work, man? I think they can, and I don't think. Here's my last question: do you end up with does Lamar play? Does he ultimately come back? Is he healthy enough to play? If Lamar plays, this becomes a lot more interesting. I still have the Bengals winning, but there's going to be something in the water. If he decides to come in and play, he's playing to be like, give me my fucking money, though he should have gotten it already anyway.
In my bag.
But you want to. That's the one thing the Ravens have to be careful about. They should have paid this man, because you know what's going to end up happening. He's going to end up going off.
Yeah,
and then he's going to be owed everything. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
and he's already earned it. But
he's already earned it. What else?
No, he's already earned it. And we had the same conversation a few weeks back. But I'm saying, like, God help Baltimore if Lamar comes in and goes deep in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
because you already owed him probably 250, like a lot of these quarterbacks are getting now. You're gonna owe this motherfucker 300. Like you may have fucked this up, because you remember what they did, like idiots. They Joe Burrow does one Super Bowl win, and all of a sudden you're like, or not Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, and you're just like,
that
take
was
all
insane.
the money, take it all, and then he was horrible.
Yeah,
you should have paid Lamar earlier, man.
By the way, Flacco started the game before the Jets past weekend. Joe Burrow has struggled against Baltimore, against their defense. Their third-year offensive coordinator, McDonald, he has figured out how to dial up some good defenses against Burrow. So this is going to be a tight game. Burrow, his success rate normally against other teams, he's at 50%. Against the Ravens and all the games he's played against them, he's at 36% with his success rate. His pressure is 23%, whereas 27% against other teams. His sack rate is about 5%, and his interception rate is 1.3%. So it's lower. He's throwing less interceptions. He's getting sacked less. He's getting less pressure, but he's also off target more, 10.4% versus 7.4% against other teams. So for whatever reason, McDonald figures out how to scheme against Burrow really well. So we'll see if Burrow can overcome that in Cincinnati and how this game goes about. But I think it's going to be real tight. And if Lamar comes in, I think all bets are off at this point, and the Ravens can absolutely steal this game. Absolutely steal this game in Cincinnati, because the Bengals have not been able to put 2 good halves of football together over 5 weeks now. They've gotten victories, but they haven't looked good for the entire game. So if the Ravens, who can come back on people, find a way to get up on these Bengals, we'll see what happens by the end. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals win, or the Ravens win this one. All right, Seattle, it's San Francisco. I think this is going to be you got here and you're about to get destroyed. I think they're absolutely going to wall up Geno Smith and the Hawks. What do you think? Any chance the Hawks have?
I think they have 0 chance, but God damn it, I am going to be cheering for them so hard, both for the sake of my girlfriend and both for the sake of, as a 49ers hater, do you know that every team is rooting for Seattle in this game? I don't know a single person that is not a Niners fan that isn't rooting for the Seahawks, because, as we've said, they're the scariest team in football. If you can take them out early,
Yeah.
Do you understand? All of a sudden, everybody gets a little kick in their ass where they go, let's go. It's like you see in war movies where they're like, oh my God, they captured the fort. We can do this. And then all of a sudden gets charged up and they just start rushing, bro.
Yeah.
If the Seahawks could pull off this upset, you think you saw a Beastquake before, bro.
Dude.
There will be a Beastquake in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They don't play in San Francisco. Where they play?
They play
Silicon Valley.
Santa Clara, someplace.
Santa Clara. That's so stupid.
So what you're saying is the Seahawks are going to look like that regiment at the end of Glory, is what you're saying. You're going to be cheering for them by the time it's all over. It's just going to be dead bodies everywhere.
On top of the fact that you know how much money Gino's going to get paid if he leads his team to beat the Niners in the playoffs in the wild card round.
Dude.
I don't care if he even gets past that game. Yeah. If he can figure out how to beat the 49ers, do you know how much money Geno Smith is going to make? And would be ecstatic for him.
Yeah. And there are always surprises. So you never know what can happen in the playoffs. But yeah, I'll take San Francisco as well.
Hold on. Let me check something real quick. Because if I remember, they obviously did not win the second one.
Right.
But didn't the Seahawks win the first matchup this year?
I don't know if it counts if it's Jimmy G or somebody else under center.
Well, no, they lost. Count. They lost both. They lost both. They lost the first one badly. Never mind.
So there you go. All right, let's see here. Let's see the next one here real quick. Is the Chargers at the Jags. I think we kind of talked about that one already. You kind of feel like the Jaguars might win this one, right?
I think the Jaguars got it.
Okay. All right. I think the Chargers are going to give a hell of a game. I think it's all going to come down to the fact that I think Herbert is just a little more advanced than the Jags. And look, the Jags almost lost to those Titans. Joshua Dobbs, that's a questionable fumble there. They were driving on him. There was a very real possibility that we'd be talking about the Titans going to visit or the Chargers coming to visit Tennessee. But in the end, it didn't work out that way. And the Jags got in there. I think they're happy just to be in there. I think the Chargers are going to handle their business, to be honest with you. I think they're going to win that game. All right, Giants and Vikings. Is this anything but a absolutely just an utter destruction of the Giants, or do you think the Giants are going to have a shot here against them?
I actually think the Giants are going to win.
What?
I don't. They won. Remember how close that game was. They won by a field goal earlier this year. They won by a field goal, and on top of that, Kirk Cousins is not to be trusted.
Well, that's fair.
Kirk Cousins is not to be trusted, bro. He's not to be trusted. He really, really isn't. And apparently, neither is Dalvin Cook. Like Dalvin Cook did have a 1,000-yard rushing season, but Barkley, when we kept talking about how he was disappearing, Barkley's got 13-12 to Dalvin Cook's 11-73. He's got 10 touchdowns to Dalvin Cook's 8.
Yeah.
So what it comes down to is Justin Jefferson going to come out here and look like fucking Superman, or is he going to get silenced? That's really what this will come down to. It's, in my opinion, it is purely on Justin Jefferson and how many mistakes Cousins makes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got the Vikings winning this one handily. I don't trust you. You think you don't trust Kirk Cousins? I don't trust Daniel Jones, for God's sake.
I'm not saying I do,
okay.
But I am looking more at the Vikings having a complete self-destruction, because their losses seem to come in the worst possible fashion.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah. All right. But I'm still taking the Vikings. I think they're going to handle the Giants easily. All right. Our last game of the weekend, Miami at Buffalo. Winston A. Marshall. Who have you got? The Dolphins, maybe Tua, maybe not Tua. Against
the Bills,
these Buffalo
man.
Bills.
I honestly think the Bills go untouched until they play a Kansas City or a Cincinnati. I think they go untouched until then, and then I think it's kind of a coin toss. And again, I think what they have in their back pocket is America.
Yeah,
they have something otherworldly to play for. That you would be surprised how much that can really affect a team in pressing moments. They have something otherworldly to play for at this particular moment. You're just going to have to deal with two buzzsaws of teams in the Chiefs and the Bengals by the time the playoffs are over.
If I'm Tua's family member, the last thing I want him to do is to play against this hyped up Buffalo team on AstroTurf. The last thing I want is Tua's head banging off that fucking turf, dude.
So they're just letting Tua play after a third.
If he gets cleared, they're saying Mike McDaniel said if he's medically cleared, he will start for us on in the game. So
here's the other thing that it's not just that. You want to talk about Mike McDaniel maybe losing his job prematurely. if you put Tua in, and God help you if anything happens. If
permanent,
it's not. It doesn't even necessarily have to be permanent. If he ends up with another concussion, for example, you might lose your job. You might, because everybody said after that last one that should be it for the season.
Yeah.
So if he gets cleared and you put him in, and I get that he wants to be that guy, but like,
this is Shanahan with RG3 again, and it drives me.
You are exactly right.
Right?
That's exactly what this feels like.
It drives me nuts because Mike McDaniel, everyone's like, oh, isn't he a funny guy? Isn't he a cool guy with his quips and his TikToks and his blah, blah, blah? He is sending out a guy to constantly have his life threatened, his mobility threatened, his brain functions threatened just to win games, and is going, well, he wants to play. That's the same bullshit that Shanahan used with RG3 that ended his career. And now RG3 is calling. I mean, he's okay, I guess, as an analyst.
Well for himself as an analyst, but I'm sure he's
rebuilt himself. God love him. But still, it's a shame because, dude, we had 10 years on that guy at least keeping us in contention if we had been able to keep him healthy. But, Shanahan pretty much killed him. Almost, so we shall see. Yeah, if Tua retires, I agree, Jeremy. If Tua retires, he won't though. But I hope, like for his sake, that he does. Yeah, Tampa Bay's favorite over Dallas, Winston. That's crazy to me. That's a Tom Brady thing, right? That has to be a Tom Brady thing. There can be no other reason.
No, it's because it's partial Tom Brady. It's mainly because people are watching that the Cowboys have been very hit or miss the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Including the fact that Dak keeps throwing interceptions and Brady makes you pay when you do turnovers.
He does make you pay. You're absolutely 100% right on that. We got a Streamlab that came through here from I am2Fly Cam, who said, CD top 10, LOL. Kupp, Debo, Keenan Allen, Adams, Diggs, Jefferson, Higgins, Chase, Hopkins, Tyreek. Stop the CD over.
I can't keep up with all of that. Say that again. So slower. So who are the 10?
Oh, sorry. Okay. He's got Cooper Kupp, Debo Samuel, who hasn't played half the season.
Neither Keenan Allen. Kupp, so both of them are not in the top 10. You've already lost your argument. You just named two people that didn't play all year. The fuck are you talking about? I thank you for the money. I appreciate that. Thank you for trying to talk shit to me. But yeah, how does that work when two of those players haven't played? Like Debo finally came back for a little bit.
Yeah.
But Kupp's been out since what, week 6?
Yeah. Keenan Allen has been out too, and he's
in and out. Miss me with that. What the fuck Keenan Allen done? He back and he threatening, but come on now. Who else you got? Keep going.
Adams.
Devontae Adams had 1,000-yard season, fine, but they don't even know who plays quarterback. Next.
They didn't make the playoffs. Stephon Diggs.
They did make the playoffs. Stephon Diggs. You finally got one. Finally got one. But I said top 10. I didn't put him in the top 3. I didn't put him in the top 5. I said top 10. So Stephon Diggs, you finally have one person. Who else you got?
Justin Jefferson.
That's great. You got 2.
T. Higgins. I don't know if I put
T. Higgins.
I don't put T in top 10.
Kidding me? You put Jamar Chase, but he's been injured.
Yeah.
No, not T. Higgins. T. Higgins is good, but T. Higgins is not top 10, top 15, maybe top 20. Come on.
Yeah. Then Damar Chase.
You put Higgins above Chase. You know what? Send his money back. Send it back.
No,
Send the money back.
No, DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins. This nigga, he ain't in the playoffs. What the fuck are you talking?
They're 4-12. They were 4-13, I think.
Keep going.
Tyreek Hill is the last one on his list.
You could have Tyreek Hill. You've named 3. You've named 3 receivers, and I said top 10. Yeah. I didn't even say top 3. I said top 10. Have you been watching our games? Or you just like to hate on the Cowboys because the one consistent star above all else has been CD. It's been CD and it's been Pollard. Those two have been unstoppable. The two of them are ridiculous. Come on now. Did you not see in that Eagles game? He caught the ball, said whoop, and then went around the Eagles defender to score a touchdown on the motherfucker. Are we watching the same football, sir?
Yeah.
Is your TV screen not adjusted properly to catch the right signals? What's happening?
I think you could put AJ Brown in that conversation after his incredible year.
AJ Brown.
I put him.
That's
in top
fine.
10.
I would put AJ Brown top 10. I said top 10. How many times I gotta say this shit? Top 10. I would even put Olave at top 15. The way he played with no team. is just AK, and you never know what quarterback's there, and yet somehow he had an incredible rookie season. Come on now. Oh my God, I cannot believe we're doing this. I cannot believe we're doing this. Honestly, I said top 10. God damn it.
Do you have 10 more minutes to hang around? 10, 15 more minutes to hang around? You got to go.
Nope. I'm gonna have to take a COVID test while we're doing this, but sure.
Okay.
So if you don't mind me doing it on the air, then yes, I will. Yes, I can continue.
Let me take a break and then go get your COVID test. We'll be right back. There we go. Winston's sticking around for this situation. All right, so here's what I want to get into, and when Winston comes back, we'll have this conversation, and I'll let you guys. I'll give you guys the foundation here, and then we'll jump into what Winston thinks about this. But so far, we're hearing. Obviously, we've seen the news that Cliff Kingsbury has been fired, and the GM as well has been fired from the Cardinals. So he is there, no longer continuing as the people in charge of the Arizona Cardinals. Here was it head coach Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim, who was the GM. They're both gone now. They are, and Keim says he's stepping away from his position in order to focus on his health. I'm not sure what that's all about, but that's the situation. But Kingsbury is absolutely gone, and they had signed him to a contract extension through 2027. So that is a lot of money that they are giving away here in that situation. That was just earlier this year that they signed him to a contract extension. So that's pretty surprising. Wonder where Kingsbury is going to end up. Lovie Wilson, as we mentioned, Lovie Smith was fired as the coach of the Houston Texans here after just one season, after helping them go to a 13-1 season. Certainly they thanked him for all his efforts, but the Texans are set with a lot of stuff for sure in terms of draft picks and whatever. The Broncos here apparently have permission to interview Sean
Christian
Payton.
Watson is not better than CeeDee Lamb. Fuck you. Look at my neighbors yelling at me. I'm so goddamn loud right now.
Sean Payton is possibly in line to be the coach of the Denver Broncos, but so is possibly Sean McVay and possibly Jim Harbaugh. So a lot of interesting names being thrown around here for coaching in the NFL. So I think it's all going to, I mean, Harbaugh going out in that loss with Michigan, that is a tough situation for him. So he is supposedly going to interview with the Denver Broncos. So what do you think about Kingsbury losing his job? What do you think about Lovie Smith losing his job and the possibility that it's either Sean Payton or maybe Harbaugh to be coach of the Broncos? And we already talked about McVay stepping away. So what are your thoughts on those four things? Real quick?
Here are the people in their yards this year in the NFL. Justin Jefferson is number one at 18,000 yards and 18,009 yards.
You have to circle back to my question.
But I will come back to it. You got Tyreek Hill at 1,710 yards. You have Devontae Adams, which again, I will give you that. You have Devontae Adams at 1,516 yards. You had A.J. Brown at 1,496 yards. You had Stephon Diggs at 1,429 yards. And at number 6, you had CeeDee Lamb with 1,359 yards. Now let's talk touchdowns.
Okay.
Before I get to Cliff Kingsbury real quick.
Please.
CeeDee Lamb is tied at 6th for 9 touchdowns on the season. And the 2 of the people ahead of him are fucking tight ends. I'm not playing this game with y'all today. I'm really, really not. Let's look at the longest receiving. Okay, he didn't have the longest. He's he didn't do all that, but he still handled his business. Okay, so Cliff Kingsbury. Look, you paid a lot of money to a quarterback that was questionable and then got hurt, and then you didn't do anything. You've had all these years. There's a lot going on here, and so I am not surprised that happened, to be honest with you. And I think that is something somebody needed to be held accountable for what looked like a very talented team not clearing. And I understand the situation with Murray getting hurt, but
Now, what about Lovie Smith? Are you surprised by that at all? Him getting fired from the Texans?
Oh, that happened?
Yes, that happened earlier today. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. And I'm not necessarily surprised. Look how bad they were.
Yeah.
This was only his first year there, though.
Yeah, it was only first year as head coach.
I don't love that he didn't get a second shot. That seems kind of fucked to me.
Especially with the fact that they got a crap quarterback and they've got all these draft picks and they've got a lot of money here for free agents because they're clearing up a lot of cap space. So you really didn't give the man enough ingredients to cook. So
I think they're right, because you know how they're saying Harbaugh's on the move now out of Michigan. So I think that's a good call that he might be down in Houston. He might end up in Arizona. I think that there's a lot of stuff going on right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with Cooks as well. Because apparently, Brandon Cooks says he does not want to be part of a rebuild, which may mean he wants out of Houston as well. So this team, which had looked so promising just a few years ago, absolutely gutted with a lot of these decisions that were made by these head coaches and GMs that were there. And of course, the Deshaun Watson situation with him attacking all those women. So not a good thing for sure. And what do you think about Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh? Do you think either one of those guys is good for Denver to come in and possibly coach Russell Wilson? What do you say? What do you anticipate for there?
I mean, I'm very curious to see what Russell Wilson still has in the tank. It's just a bad situation because what everything that I've heard, and especially at Shannon Sharp and whatnot, is the fact that, which I do want to for half a second, but I will have to go soon and talk about the situation with Skip Bayless and all that.
Yeah, let's do it.
But Shannon said it. He doesn't have the respect of that locker room. Shannon still has people because he was a longtime Bronco. He still has people there that they were not. They do not respect Russell Wilson, and I'm not surprised. One of the things that got talked about by a number of folks was like part of why Brady wins so much and everybody has so much respect for him. Brady will go up to the rookie that has watched him play since they were kids, and they're enamored with him and go, "Hey, I'm Tom. What's your name? Where are you from? What's your story, man?" Whereas Russell Wilson, it's like, "Hey, Russ, what you doing? Hey, you want to talk to me? Talk to my manager, and he'll get in contact." Like that's not the. I didn't hear that firsthand. This is the stuff that we're hearing out of the locker room, like the rumors that are coming out. You can't win when the team does not function. They're fighting on the sidelines and yelling at each other and mainly yelling at Russell. So,
yeah. It's a tough situation. There's no lie for sure. All right. As you do your test here, let's move on to our last thing. And we should talk about the Skip Bayless thing. Good. Thanks for mentioning that. Sometimes a whole week passes and you just forget, but certainly Michael Strahan brought it up in his comments on the NFL Sunday on Fox. And certainly Shannon Sharp took the day off after Skip Bayless issued that tweet that was essentially turning Damar Hamlin into just a collateral damage situation in the NFL and focusing more on the games going forward. He went on Undisputed and he was more indignant. He doubled down on the tweet and then claimed that nobody here at Fox Sports had an issue with his tweet. But Shannon Sharp did not come back after for the day after. Came back 2 days later after that tweet and came on there, was giving his 2 cents, and then Skip interrupted him to tell him that nobody had a problem with his tweet and that he wasn't going to take it down. And Shannon got mad. And Shannon said, "Look, don't interrupt me, man. I'm trying to say my piece. You will have your time." And after it was over, Skip ended it by banging his paper on the table like a 5-year-old. So to me, I think he's rightfully getting vilified and destroyed across the spectrum because it was one of the most insensitive things to do. And you cannot ignore the optics of an old-ass white man who has essentially built his career talking about young black men in sports, turning a black man into a statistic in his mind so you could move on and talk about the playoffs and the implications and all of that, rather than being in the moment and appreciating the fact that a young man almost died on the field playing the game that he loves, and you couldn't have the grace to just cover it and be in that mindset instead of worrying about what the ramifications were immediately as he was still dying, possibly from the cardiac arrest.
It wasn't the time. Like there's a couple things. The first is I was having a long talk with a buddy of mine who used to work at ESPN. He wanted to be a sports journalist, so he interned there.
Oh wow.
Just having worked with Skip Bayless and all the like. He was telling me that he in no way, shape, or form believes that Skip Bayless is like racist.
No,
but what we agree upon is that at times Skip Bayless looks like the white moderate that Martin Luther King warned us about how they're going to say, did we lose Rocha? I think we lost Rocha. I think it's just me right now. So I'll wait until he comes back. But essentially what they're saying about what Martin Luther King said about the white moderate is you have to look out for the white moderate because they're kind of more in tune to they're not anti doing the right thing, but they're more in tune to looking out for themselves type situation. I look at that and I get, as a news reporter, as somebody that follows the NFL, the questions start to bubble up. How does this play with the scheduling? What goes on here? How do we handle that kind of stuff? But it was not the time at all to do that. Once we had a situation, once we literally got to the end of it and Damar was in the hospital and they figured it out, if you then want to field the question, okay, now that that's handled, what do we do now?
Yeah.
But it just was not like there is a point. So one of two things is true. Either he was just ignorant enough to not think about this is not the time. And he does say at the bottom of his tweet, but it seems all irrelevant now. You didn't need to bring it up.
Yeah. You just didn't need to bring it up.
So either you're ignorant to that situation or you knew what you were doing was baiting.
Yes.
Because you wanted the attention, either for your show or whatever the fuck else. And that's just not chill. And to that point, Shannon not showing up said a lot. And then when he did show up and he, like he said, I couldn't even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Yeah.
And how this tweet specifically was disrespectful, regardless of what you meant. It just, the whole thing was just pretty disgusting. And it's very curious to see what ultimately you end up seeing out of Shannon if Shannon decides to stay, because Fox isn't going to fire Skip Bayless. That's not going to.
I know that's unfortunate, but
they won't fire him. But I would be very curious. But I do need to hit the road.
Okay.
So real quick, everybody, thank you for watching Game Time. Rocha will close everything out. You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all the platforms. Very excited about this month. Got a lot of cool stuff coming out. And also watch Capes and Cows. If you saw it on Christian's channel, if you saw this past week, Koi had the greatest snafu maybe of all time. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. No.
Oh, bitch!
I have to find it.
Christian clipped it out. So if you go and look, at the clip out, it's about 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, love y'all. Happy playoff weekend. I'll see you guys next week.
Respect. See you, Winston. Take care, brother, man.
Peace.
Always appreciate you pinging on. All right, so let's hit this last thing. We do have a one last stream that came through from I am Too Fly Cam. Winston, I have you in my prayers. You must have COVID on the brain with this CD talk. Don't say that. Don't say that. My list was not in order. Scary Terry is better than Lamb, and so is A.J. Brown. Mike Evans is a future Hall of Fame. CD has yet to do anything in the playoffs. Right, but he's about to be in the playoffs, so we'll see what he does. But yeah, don't wish COVID on anybody or COVID brain. That's a step too far. Just a little tip from me. And we got the national championship game happening tonight. This is going to be a very, very interesting game for sure. As I'm looking at my notes here, I've watched both of those playoff games, and they were fantastic. I came away a TCU believer after their victory against Michigan, which may send Harbaugh into the NFL, back into the NFL, as he was there, coach of the 49ers as well. But this Georgia team is on a mission. Nobody thought, or a lot of people didn't think, Georgia would be able to bounce back from all the people they lost last year on their side, on the defensive side of the ball, but they were able to bounce back here and be an even more ferocious team this year as they took care of business, marching through the entire SEC and taking care of business barely by 1 point over Ohio State and CJ Stroud last week. So what will happen in this game? So curious to see if Stetson Bennett will get himself a second a national championship trophy here for these Bulldogs if they win back-to-back. It's so crazy because Georgia took forever to get over that hump to beat Alabama. And now the possibility here is that they might win 2 in a row, which is kind of crazy to even consider. But when you look at TCU, it's a hell of a story here. They are in the midst of one of the greatest turnarounds in the history of the college football history here. They were 5-7 in 2021, and nobody even selected them to be in the top half of their conference here this season, but they were able to handle their business, and they are 1 win away from the first national title for this team since 1930, for the school rather, since 1938. That's incredible. And this is after getting rid of their coach, Gary Patterson, who had been there for so long. They had a new coach. And if this coach wins the national championship, he'll be the one of 4 coaches who won the national championship after taking over the team in the first season and taking him to a title. Larry Coker, I think, for the University of Miami, was the last coach to do that when he took over from Butch Davis at Miami, as I said there. And Max Duggan, who himself is also a Heisman finalist, that's the quarterback for TCU. Going to be very interesting to see how he plays the game tonight and how he handles the swings, the up and down swings. Because clearly Stetson Bennett and that Georgia team and Kirby Smart, that coach over there, they have been to the mountaintop. They know the pressures that go on winning a national championship game. Now here comes TCU. Will they ride high? Do they have the rabbit's foot? Do they have the Cinderella slipper on? Will they be the team that ends up coming out of this whole thing and winning it? And I think they were a number 4 seed, just like Georgia was last year, and Georgia won the whole thing. So is that possible in this situation? So I'm going to be so curious to see what happens, because the Georgia defense over these last 2 games they are giving up a lot of points against LSU and against Ohio State. They had given up fewer than 15 points in 2022, but 71 of the points that they've given up, though, have occurred in the last 2 games here, as I mentioned. So will this defense be giving up a lot of points, and will the TCU defense be able to handle what Georgia throws at them? Because, look, that Ohio State team was ready to win that game. They had absolutely came with the right mentality. They jumped on Georgia quick, and they could have put the game away were it not for a couple of mistakes, boneheaded mistakes on special teams, and an interception there, or a fumble that happened there. They could have absolutely won the game, and it'd be Ohio State taking on TCU, which a lot of people did not predict was going to be the matchup in the national championship. So will they be able to avoid, will they be able to keep the mindset correct to handle their business against Georgia, or will Georgia just absolutely slowly beat them mentally at every turn as the game goes along? Because that can happen as well. So we shall see tonight, starting at 4:30 p.m. PT, 7:30 p.m. ET. So we shall see. And don't forget that the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania will drop a new trailer tonight. The Geek Buddies are going to do a trailer reaction to that trailer tonight after it drops. So look for that dropping on the Outlaw Nation channel, not on this channel. And I'm wondering if I'm going to do a watch along of the game at 4:30. I might do a watch along. Let me see where I'm at work-wise, because I've got to go work on some reviews here. I'm going to see where I'm at work-wise to see if I'm going to do a watch along. So look for a surprise watch along if I do it tonight at 4:30 p.m. PT. All right, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for watching our show today. Thanks for the Streamlabs and the I appreciate those madly. Hopefully we're getting close to that 1,000 of subscribers we need. We need 1,000 subscribers to qualify to monetize this channel. We're getting up to 700 views per episode here, so we're slowly building. Would love it if you guys who watch us hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button right now so that we can get to that 1,000 subscribers mark as soon as possible. Also, leave a comment down below, hit a like on this video, and come and follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch, and my other YouTube channel, the Outlaw Nation channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, and my pro wrestling channel, Strong Style Live, which has already crossed 4,000 watch hours, and we're slowly building to 1,000 subscribers as well. So a lot of stuff happening here in 2023 under the Outlaw Nation banner. Come be a part of it all for sure. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. We love you madly. As Winston said, we'll see you next week as we'll be covering all the playoff games top to bottom there. Now that there's only 5 or 6 games, we'll be covering them week to week in depth here in our conversations, and looking forward to that. All right, y'all be well. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the game tonight if you're going to watch it, and enjoy the playoffs this weekend. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of Game Time. Peace.